Welcome to the Fate of Ukraine channel. Immediately after Putin's speech, an incredibly powerful explosion took place in Avdiivka region of Ukraine. Some Russian analysts stated that a nuclear warhead could be used due to the emergence of a flame cloud greater than 150 meters. After the explosion, Zelensky officially said that World War could begin. The events in the region started to get very interesting. As the war continued at full speed, eyes were turned to Moscow. Russian President Putin, who broke his silence about the war in Ukraine, made flash statements. A very harsh response came to Putin from Ukrainian front. Making a speech to members of parliament and soldiers in the capital Moscow, Putin broke his silence. Assessing the latest situation in the war, Russian leaders said, "We tried everything to solve Donbass problem," and Putin made a statement. Claiming that Kiev had contacted West for arms deals before the war, Russian leaders stated that the tasks within the scope of the military operation would be decided step by step. Putin declared that he will continue to protect Russia's interests and position. Saying that West has taken the genie out of the bottle, Putin also created a preliminary impression that he will make bigger attacks. Putin warned West not to provide additional military aid to Ukraine and said such support would warrant a military response from Moscow. "It is impossible to beat Russia on the field," said Putin. Russian leader continued his words as follows: "The more long-range weapons are sent to Ukraine, the more we will remove the threat from our borders," he said. Russian leader has promised to systematically continue Moscow's offensive in Ukraine. International agencies announced that the website of the public broadcaster All Russian State Television and Radio Broadcasting Company had collapsed due to the intensity experienced during Putin's speech. Putin also announced that Russia will suspend new strategic arms reduction treaty. Putin said West currently expects Russian economy to collapse, but that the economy has contracted by only 2.2% in 2022. There was no delay in responding to Putin's words from Ukrainian front. Ukraine's ambassador to Austria Oleksandr Skerba said, "Putin is at work again with his usual complaints. As if there was no Russian ultimatum. It's as if Macron and Scholz didn't spend 2021 traveling to Moscow begging Russia not to do it. What a liar," a statement came from Ukrainian official. However, Yevgeny Prigozhin, leader of Wagner mercenary group and longtime Putin ally, was not present when Putin was making the speech. It is noteworthy that Prigozhin did not attend Putin's speech. Because Prigozhin's absence from Putin's speech is due to the fact that tensions between Wagner leader and other Russian officials continue to escalate amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. Prigozhin stated that in accordance with the orders of Russian General Staff and the Ministers of Defense, orders are given not to help Wagner groups with ammunition and air transport, and that there is a new clash of ideas between Russian army and Wagner. Prigozhin noted that Russian authorities tried to destroy Wagner Group and that this could be equated with treason, Politico reported. A day ago, Reuters reported that there were messages that Prigozhin had to apologize and obey if he wanted to get more ammunition for his fighters. After these events, Prigozhin said, "Those who interfere with our attempt to win this war are certainly working directly for the enemy." Earlier this month, John Kirby, spokesman for White House National Security Council, said Wagner Group had claimed more than 30,000 lives since the start of the ongoing war. The undercurrent civil war in Moscow surfaced on the anniversary of Ukrainian war. Prigozhin, the boss of the mercenary Wagner Group, formally accused Minister of Defense Shoigu and Chief of the General Staff Gerasimov of treason. The reflection of the war, which was locked on the front line, on Russia was unprecedented chaos in modern times. Ukrainian General Staff stated that there has been no change in the front line in recent days. Officials stated that Russian army continued its attacks from 5 regions in the east of the country, while Ukrainian army was protecting its defense lines. In Bakhmut, which Russian army sees as a key region recently, the clashes continue with all its violence. Russians finally took control of a small village close to the area. Ukraine's main intelligence directorate shared with the world a possible development in the continuation of the war. Claiming that Putin will deport university students to the front after a new mobilization, Ukrainian authorities brought an interesting incident to the surface. Swedish intelligence, on the other hand, made an interesting statement about the war that has been going on for 1 year. Officials stated that the Russian army has started to deploy on Swedish border and their numbers are increasing day by day. For months, news had been leaking that there was a conflict between Russian army and Wagner Group. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the founder of Wagner Group, revealed in his statements today that the civil war in Moscow can no longer be hidden. Yevgeny Prigozhin, who for years denied that he founded Wagner, admitted for the first time weeks later that he founded Wagner Group. A certain hour after Putin's speech, there was a huge explosion in Ukraine. There was a huge explosion in Avdiivka, which was under the control of Ukrainian army. At the moment, it could not be determined what kind of ammunition was used in the attack on the region. However, it is estimated that a special or strategic missile could be used apparently. The explosion turned out to be extremely powerful indeed. There were even Russian analysts who stated that the Russian army was using nuclear warheads, as well as experts who stated that an ammunition depot was hit. The explosion was so great that a 150-meter cloud of flame formed. The whole of Avdiivka was lit up after the explosion. After the explosion in the region, local sources also stated that the windows in all buildings were broken. Local sources also stated that a large ammunition depot was hit and a shockwave larger than a small nuclear weapon was produced. Local sources, who stated that Ukraine's ammunition depot was hit with special bunker-piercing ammunition on the Russian side, also stated that the damage could not be determined. President Zelensky made a statement immediately after the developments. President of Ukraine Zelensky said, "Putin wants to rebuild the Soviet Union, but he will not succeed. Millions of Poles do not want Russian soldiers in their country. Nor will it be able to tell the Slovaks what to do, take Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania, and control Ukraine. As president, I can never accept this or explain it to our people. Because I think the same thing as our people. We do not want to be conquered. We are not ready for this, we do not want to be part of the USSR and we do not want to be part of the Russian Federation. And we are not just 2 or 3 people, we are 40 million people," the leader made a statement. While Biden made a surprise visit to Ukraine, news came from Moscow that Putin was preparing for his speech to the federal parliament. While the activity in Ukraine and Russia continued, China warned against war getting out of control. We have come to the end of another video. You can like the video to support us. By subscribing, you can easily follow new videos. See you.